What's up, guys? This is Jordan from Bennetts Customs. On this episode, kind of a short and sweet one, but something still really cool. What we're actually going to show you is how to restore your vintage steering wheel. I'm sure many of you have kind of gone through the process of trying to find something really nice that's going to be steering your traditional hot rod or custom. With one that we have, they are pretty hard to find without getting heaps of cracks and lots of chips and dings and everything that are in them. They're obviously because of their age. This happens to be a kind of 46 to 48 Ford steering wheel. And this is going to go into something super special that will be coming on our page very soon. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we have something pretty cool to announce that we will be building. So for everyone that's into traditional hot rods, stay tuned. But yeah, basically on this, what we're going to do is just show you kind of the step-by-steps of how to get rid of all the cracks. And then we'll get this into a high build primer, get it into paint, and then we'll show you how to go through and polish up the ring. Obviously, you could sandblast this and get this re-chromed, but kind of the way we're building, or the direction that this is going, we'll just try and polish it up as best we can using some simple tools that you would have in your shed, which will be really cool. And then we'll get into showing you maybe how to do a little custom horn ring. This one's quite neat. It was actually one I've done ages ago. It is a Mercury center, and what I did was actually add some gold flake into it just to see what it would kind of turn out like, and it actually did turn out really cool. But yeah, we're going to show you a couple of different techniques on how to do that and get this set up, and then obviously we're going to need an indicator set up. So this is one that I've recently already restored. And this will also go into the car as well. This is a Signal Stat 500. And basically I gave this a bit of a freshen up a couple of years ago, and it's been sitting in the glass cabinet waiting for its debut. So now that we've collected enough parts, that'll be going in. So we are going to try and do something similar with this wheel that is going to complement this and as well as the rest of the car. So without further ado, all right, so we've got the steering wheel out of the blast cabinet. I just basically wanted to try and get the surface rust off the inner horn structure and also the back of it as well. But what we're going to do is actually use a little Dremel bit, and we're just going to, or carbide bit, I believe they're called, and we're just going to actually follow where these cracks are, and we're just going to dig these out a little bit just to give a bit more of an area to put the filler in. And then after that, we'll apply the filler, sand, repeat. So let's get into it. All right, so I just applied a little bit of fiber fill, and look, it's not really maybe the thing you would want to use, but I have used it on a few steering wheels before and have had no issues with it. There are a ton of different products, so this is just what I use, so you might use something a little bit different, but it works for me. So I've just started sanding it, and you'll see as I just go around, I'm just using 80 grit with a few little blocks, and once I've got to that point, I will use 120 and a little bit of fine filler to just get those little pinholes before we put this into primer. Once in primer, I'll guide coat it, sand it again, and we're going to pick out a color for it. So let's do it. right, so we just got it out of the booth. I just put 2 coats of high build down on this, and as you saw, just did a light coat of guide coat. So what we're going to do now is use the orbital with an interface and 320 and just lightly go over this, and the rest I'll just do with the hand and a few soft blocks with some 400. Once we get that done, I'll probably just give it one more coat of guide coat with a light sand of 400 or 500 grit, and then we will get this prepped for paint. Just got it sanded, and now I'm just added a little bit of fine filler and just a little couple pinholes that you could just see that the primer obviously didn't pick up. I'll just give this a little bit with a bit of 320. It's quite nice to sand this stuff, and then I'll just go over it again with 400. And being 2K, you know, we don't really have to step it down in grits too much. The coverage that 2K gives you is quite a bit, and going the off-white that we are going to do this, it will cover quite nice. So. All right, just going to jump into the booth now and get some paint on this. The color that we're actually going for, I've sprayed quite a few things in it, and it's a really nice vintage white. Really suits the era, and it's called St. Moritz White. For anyone that wants to use it, the code is TOY033, or type in St. Moritz. It's a Toyota color from the 1970s, and yeah, it's really nice. So let's mix some paint up and get it in. So while the steering wheel is in the booth drying, we are going to try and tackle the horn ring. Now there's tons of different options you could do with this. You could sandblast it, you could clean it up, sand it, prep it for chrome, get it nickel plated, whatever you feel like doing, paint it if you wanted to. But we like old chrome, and what we want to try and do is bring this back to life. This is the original chrome from 1946 to 47. And we want to try and bring it back. So what we're going to do is just a few different steps on the buffer and see how good we can get this to complement that wheel that we've just sprayed. Tons of different options you can do with this. Usually those oven cleaner pads with that, or SOS pads as we call them in Canada, they usually work really well for, you know, not scratching the chrome, but just getting that grime off of it and the grit. But I reckon we are lucky with this one that polisher is going to bring it right back to life. Just a quick little tech tip. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know this, but for those who haven't done a lot of polishing, when you are polishing, try and have the wheel itself coming down off your edge. So what I mean by that is, obviously we have a very sharp edge on here, and we don't really want to pull into it that way. So we want to bring it off the round edge to fall off the sharp bit. So this is going to spin, obviously counterclockwise, coming down, and then that's coming off the edge like that, so that you don't actually, you know, sometimes it wants to grab the brush and pull in. So with a piece like this that, you know, you don't really want to replace, yeah, just take your time. You don't have to push too hard, and just kind of work along with it. So steering wheel is out of the booth, the polishing of the horn ring is done, and we've actually just pressed the horn button in as well. But I am going to show you guys how to make your own custom one with some casting resin. And yeah, so that's going to be on a future episode. So it's kind of time to put the two together and see what this actually looks like. Wow.